Alright, so today I am going to read a post that I saw on a subreddit from some poor bastard that seems like he's getting screwed. And I want to talk about something that you can learn from this. So I run an electronics repair shop, and now I have to go to small claims court over a repair. So a lady didn't want to pay us what we charged to put her screen on her Samsung Galaxy Note 2 phone. But when we told her our price, she wasn't happy about it. We told her if she purchased her own screen, we would only charge her a labor fee to install it. So I replaced it, and she left, and it was all good. She called back a couple of hours ago and said the LCD went out. She was a very, very rude customer. Not that it matters, but just throwing that in. So when I explained to her that it may be a defective screen, she had a fit. Anyways, I ended up telling her that I would take the screen off for her so that she can return it. When taking the screen off, the LCD cracked. I'm not sure if it was damaged already with hairline fractures or anything. When taking it off, I explained to her afterwards that it's very unlikely the screen will come off without breaking. She had another tantrum and just left the shop. A couple of hours later, she messaged us and said we owe her $150, $110 for the screen, and $40 for the labor that she's out. I tried to with her and said we would refund the labor costs if she would leave us alone. She wasn't happy. Long story short, now she's bringing me to small claims court for $300 plus court costs. I tried to settle it again a few days ago via email and wanted proof of the return policy, and I said I would give her the $300 just so I don't have to deal with court. Again, she got super pissy and mailed her a check for $300 or she's going to court. I don't believe I owe her anything, and I've tried to settle it with her, so now I'm going to countersue for court costs and my time. How would you guys go about this, and do you think I owed her the $150 originally or no? And anyone that has worked on a Galaxy Note, do you agree it's highly unlikely the screen will come off without it breaking? Also, I didn't even charge her to take the screen back off. I was just trying to get her the hell out of our shop so we don't have to deal with her. So let's go over the first part of this. So your first good instinct was I was just trying to get her the hell out of our shop so we don't have to deal with her. So if you're dealing with somebody that doesn't want to pay what you charge, they're very rude, and then for some reason you kind of skipped that until the end here. It says I was just trying to get her the hell out of our shop so we don't have to deal with her. So $40 for the screen labor. I want to talk about this because a lot of people don't understand what I'm getting at when I say certain things like it's not worth the money to deal with certain people. It's not worth the money to deal with certain situations. A lot of people think, oh no, you have to take the money, or it's stupid to not take the money. But what I think a lot of people are missing is that you can take on a job for $40 and then wind up not only losing the time that you could have spent on doing anything else, you also kind of end up losing the, I guess you kind of wind up losing, you end up losing the money that you made from that job 5 or 10-fold. Again, $40 here. How much money will this person lose going to court? How much money is this person going to lose in time that they could have spent fixing other stuff that they're now spending in court? All over $40. So I have a lot of people that will ask me to do certain things like this, and again, one of the things is that I have 100% respect for people who don't want to pay my rates for things. I have Manhattan prices for everything, and they take into account every cost of doing it. I have nothing but respect for them. What I'll do is I will suggest they try someplace else. Because here's the thing. If somebody brings me a part and says, I need you to install this, and I say, I have one of two choices. I can say, we don't do this because every time we do this, it winds up turning into conflict because our customers who bring us parts to replace by themselves wind up being douchebags after they buy a crappy part on eBay or Amazon and send it to us, in which case they'll be very mad. We could say we don't install parts provided by customers as policy due to quality control. They won't be that mad, but they'll think you're on some bullshit. Or we could say, I'm sorry, this is not something that we do, but if you go down the street 2 blocks, here's the name of a place, they'll be very happy to help you. See, what happens when you send them to somebody else, not only do you avoid the nightmare, but you also avoid the complete the issue of them looking at you like you're an asshole. Because instead of you being an asshole who's explaining to them why you can't help them, you're now somebody explaining to them how they can receive what they want. So they want somebody to do a very specific thing. You could spend time explaining why it is you don't do that. So you're pretty much, whether you're right or wrong, you're explaining to them why you can't help them. You could spend time doing the thing that they want you to do, which will wind up ending, like, again, the way it ended for this gentleman. I feel bad, but that's the way it ended for him. It ended like shit. Or you could refer them to somebody who will actually help them. And what happens here is that they wind up if they wind up going someplace else and they have a bad experience, very often they're going to forget that you're the one that sent it there. It's kind of like, we have this joke at work where it's kind of like hot potato, where like the last person who gets stuck with it is the one who has to deal with it. So when somebody's like, I want this done much cheaper, sometimes I've said, how many people I've sent to L2 Computer for motherboard repair? And if you search through my channel, you'll see what I think of L2 Computer. If you Google search, you'll see what the world thinks of L2 Computer. But I've actually said, again, like, I remember having a conversation just the other day with this really nice guy, and I was genuinely explaining to him why he shouldn't spend money on something because I didn't feel it was worth it. And then his wife or girlfriend says, no, I think it's worth it, but you need to do it for less money. And she just keeps, in a really disrespectful way, suggesting that I need to charge less. And it's like, I am not even trying to sell you on doing this, and you're already telling me it needs to cost less. I'm telling you not to because it's going to fail. And she just keeps beating into him like, just go to L2. I literally wrote out the address for them. I wrote out the address. And the guy is standing in front of me. And he actually Googles L2, and the first thing that shows up is my review, or my video where I was talking about how I got fucked by L2. And then the wife's like, why would you recommend I go to L2? And it's like, ma'am, you asked me to do something for a very low cost that I don't do. I can't meet the price that you're asking, but they will meet the price that you're asking. So what I'm doing is, again, you've shown me that what you're worried about here is price. You've never asked me a question about anything else. All you've said is price. So what I'm doing is I'm giving you a referral to somebody who will do the service for the price that's asked for. And she's like, but I don't want it to be done by them. And it's like, okay, then you can have it done here. It's like, I don't want to pay you, Ray. And it's like, okay, fine. That's your problem. But the point is, you just kind of pass it on like hot potato. And there's so much stuff. It's like, will you fix my iPhone with liquid damage for the sake of the phone? And Jess has many videos on why she doesn't do iPhone liquid damage repair for the sake of the phone. Because even after you put 5 hours in, you realize that you've spent as much money on parts as they would have if they had just went to Apple. And even if you do wind up getting lucky and not spending all that on parts, a month from now when the IMEI on the phone goes bad, you're fucked, and now, you're the asshole. It's just, so the whole point is, there are people that genuinely want me to work on a phone for the sake of the phone with liquid damage. I can say no and be the asshole. I can say yes and fix it for them and charge them more than what Apple would have charged them for a phone that I can't warranty that winds up not having an IMEI a month from now. And then again, I'm the asshole. Or I can send them to somebody else. I can help them get what they want. So I can send it to, let's say, a place downtown that does this stuff for much cheaper than we do any of this stuff. And, again, the warranty that they offer is pretty much from the time that they give you back the phone, like, that's your warranty. So, like, while it's still a combination of being in their hand and being in your hand for that, like, one moment, that's your warranty. But once it's back in your hand, the warranty's gone. I send them there. They are happy with me. I've given them what they want. I don't have to worry about them yelling or having a fit or anything like that. And then when they take it to that place and they wind up fixing it in a manner where it lasts for a month, now they're going to be mad at that other place. They're going to forget about me, which is exactly what I want. And I feel like this would help a lot of people. So if somebody says, I don't like the price, just send them to somebody cheaper. Why do you have to keep the business within your business? Why do you have to keep this business there? The entire point is that they're telling you that their expectations are incompatible with what you offer. So why come up with a way to just do it anyway? I just don't get it. And the thing that, again, that I talk about a lot here is it's so easy to lose more money than the money that you put in. It is so easy to lose far more than what it is you're making back. Again, I would say that I spend 60% of my day telling people to go somewhere else. And it's not because I don't like them. It's not because I think they're mean. It's just a lot of people ask me to do things that, again, it's just, I know that they're not going to want to pay for it. They'll tell me that they don't want to pay for it. And again, I could either be, and I give people options. I say, well, read this guide and do it yourself. Or go to this place, they'll match your price. It's just, it's easier because, again, at the end of the day, when you take on customers that you shouldn't have taken on, you lose the time and you lose the money. Again, this dude, I feel bad. I'm not trying to harp on him, but he's I feel bad for him because I used to be in this guy's shoes. He is going to lose more money, way more money than what he would have made off of just taking in this repair. And like I have to deal with that every day. Again, like if I have a customer who's very paranoid about motherboard repair, right? Because this actually happened. Let's say there's one guy who was really, really paranoid about board repair. Really, really paranoid. This was about 3 years ago. We take him in as a customer. And we fix it, and he's really paranoid. He's plugging things into every port. He's looking this stuff over with like a magnifying glass when he comes in, this little magnifying camera app on his phone, and he's like looking through everything with the phone camera and the magnifying glass app, and he's looking through everything, and he thinks he sees a problem with the display port. And we plug in the Thunderbolt, and we show him that it works, and when we even compare it to a working laptop to show him it works the same, but he's like, oh no, something's wrong here. Well, he goes home and he starts plugging in the DisplayPort connector in and out. He must have plugged that shit in and out 1,000 fucking times as hard as he can, pulling on it, doing all sorts of crazy shit. He brings it to us with the port literally ripped off of the motherboard. And we never touched his DisplayPort. That's the funny thing. This is a CPU vCore issue. And he winds up ripping it off the board. And then he winds up filing a chargeback. So I want you to think about this. So again, it was taken in with the idea that, he's being a little annoying, but we'll make money off of it. And because of the type of person that it was, and because he started out with that distrust and irritation, he then wound up making the situation worse for himself. And then when we didn't cover it, he filed the chargeback, so I didn't get the money for the repair, and I got my time wasted, and I had to deal with a negative customer experience. Whereas if I had simply said, I completely understand your concerns, the Apple store is on 9th Avenue and 14th Street, the L train is 2 blocks away and will take you there. I wish you the best of luck. If they're not able to help you, here's my business card. If I had done that, everything would have been kosher. No, I gotta just take all the money available, because that's the thing. When you just focus on making the money, you not only lose the money, you lose the respect of the client, you lose the respect of yourself, and you lose the money, and you drive yourself nuts. And that's just kind of what makes me sad here with this situation. It's just one of those things where and this is the really sad part. It's ultimately, this is the thing that I've been fucking myself over with for the first at least 3/4 of my life. This part over here, where he says, I was just trying to help. Here's the thing. She paid for you to install the screen, right? She never paid for you to take the screen out. If you had simply installed the screen for her, and that was it, it was her part, there wouldn't even be an argument as to what you owe her, and honestly, it probably would have gone away. But here, where you say, when taking off the screen, the LCD cracked, now, you were actually trying to help her, you were trying to help her return it, and now you have screwed yourself. You tried to do something good that was not part of your responsibility. By trying to do something good that was never your responsibility, you've now done something bad. Whether you think that it was that it's her fault, the seller's fault, or your fault, it doesn't matter. You cracked the LCD while removing it. Again, we can argue all day as to whether or not you should be held liable for it. I personally don't think this guy should be held liable for anything. This customer demanded certain things. Everything worked out the exact way that it should have, be based on this person buying some shit eBay screen that died and then demanding that they help them with the return of it. But the fact of the matter is that you had a choice as to whether or not you were going to remove her screen, and you chose to remove it, fully well understanding the risk. So by trying to help somebody, you made the situation even worse. And it's just one of those things where, I don't understand why people are simply afraid to avoid situations altogether. I would literally rather sit on my ass in a dead store doing nothing than sit on my ass in a store fixing things for people that I'm going to wind up refunding. Because there are so many issues, there are so many things that come up again when people don't trust you or don't like the guy that's literally I fixed his CPU vCore circuit. He is plugging a device into the Thunderbolt port with this sick paranoia over and over again. He breaks the port off the board, which is a feat that, again, if you have any type of donor boards in your store with a Thunderbolt port on them, like any MacBooks, I want you to plug a Thunderbolt adapter in them. I want you to really rip it back and forth and realize how much force it must take to rip that thing off the board. when you deal with that, you not only lose your mind, but you don't even get to keep the money that you already made. So I would literally rather sit on my ass doing nothing, making no income, than losing money as a result of taking on people that I just should not have taken on. And this is not something to be stuck with a consumer electronics repair. This is something that you can apply to so many other professions, like lawyers, personal trainers, surgeons. There's so many people that can use that can learn from the lesson of what happened here. Because again, like this post right over here, years ago, like that was me. I was this guy right here, thinking I'm just gonna try to help. Again, just send it away. Just play hot potato. Just turn it into somebody else's problem. And if the other store is the type of store that, again, has a little bit more experience, then they'll learn. They'll turn it into somebody else's problem, and then they'll turn it into somebody else's problem. And eventually the customer's going to understand. Like if a customer goes to a store and hears a price of $200, and they balk at, like, oh. But then you send them to another place, and they say $250. Oh. And then that place sends them to another place, and they say $300. Oh. And then that other place sends them to some place and it's $200. Ah! What's going to happen over time is that customer is going to realize, maybe it's not all these stores that are trying to rip me off. Maybe what I'm asking for is probably not sustainable. It's probably not something that makes sense. And they'll eventually figure it out for themselves. So rather than take it upon yourself to torture yourself, trying to meet unrealistic expectations, you throw it back at them. You show them the reality of their unrealistic expectations by sending them someplace else that will either refuse the business or, even worse, take that business and torture themselves. Take that hot potato and just make it somebody else's problem, is what I'd have to say about that. And we even have a game with this. Like, we were like, this is a guy that's one block down from us. Like, somebody will ask me to replace the battery on an iPhone 3G and get mad if I say no. Because, as you know, iPhone 3G motherboards die for no reason at this point. The screen is dying, the case is dying. The second you even pry the damn screen off of the case, the back cover has split, and of course that becomes your fault if you touched it. So I send all of those to him, and then every time somebody has a question about some 15-year-old PC laptop, he sends it to me. And then when somebody comes in with a clock radio saying, I demand that you fix this and I need an estimate right now, when they want an estimate on their Sony Dream Machine, I send it to them. And then when somebody comes in wanting me to wanting to reball their PlayStation 3, then he sends it to me. And we have a little game going back and forth with one another, and it's like a fucking sport at this point. But really, I mean, all joking aside, understand that when you take money from people that you shouldn't take money from, not only will you get to keep all of the hassle, but at the end of the day, you're not going to keep a cent of the money that came from them. And hopefully that is a lesson, and that's it for today.